Hide right now. Your wedding day isn't what you think. The man you're about to marry is hiding a secret that will shatter everything." The morning sun poured over the city like liquid gold, reflecting off the sleek windows of the Harper estate. Inside, the mansion buzzed with life, hairdressers whisking through rooms, florists arranging bouquets, caterers hustling with trays of champagne and canapés. It should have been a perfect morning. After 3 years of planning, after countless nights dreaming of this day, Madison Sinclair's wedding should have been flawless. But something felt wrong. Her heart thudded like a drum as she stared at the intricate lace of her gown, the soft silk brushing against her arms. The excitement that had filled her yesterday, the joy that had carried her through months of planning, was now replaced by an icy dread that curled through her stomach. "Madam, please listen to me," said Marcus, her longtime driver and confidant, his voice unusually tense. Madison turned, startled by his expression. He never looked like this. He was calm, collected, always the image of composure. Today, however, his eyes were wide, his jaw tight. He looked like a man on the edge of seeing something he couldn't unsee. "Marcus, what's wrong?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. He glanced around the bustling mansion, ensuring no one overheard. "You have to trust me, Madison. Right now, you need to hide." Hide, on my wedding day. Marcus, what are you talking about?" "There's no time to explain fully," he said, glancing nervously toward the front of the mansion. "Get into the boot of the car, now, please, and don't make a sound. You need to know the truth before him." Madison's hands shook. The wedding gown felt heavier than ever, the layers of silk and tulle almost suffocating her. Her breath hitched. "The truth, Marcus, about him, about my fiancé." "Yes, he's hiding something you deserve to know. Please, just trust me," Marcus urged. Her mind raced. James Cole, her James, the man she had loved, laughed with, and imagined her entire future with. Could he really be hiding something from her? Could the man she had chosen to spend her life with be keeping a secret so dark, so unimaginable, that it could destroy everything? Her fingers trembled as she edged toward the sleek black car outside, the sound of her heels clicking against the marble echoing like a warning. Marcus opened the boot with a soft click, his hands steady but his eyes full of urgency. Madison stared into the shadowed compartment, the darkness like a void. She swallowed hard, trying to push down the fear that surged through her. Slowly, carefully, she stepped inside. The space was tight, almost suffocating. She folded her gown around her, pressing herself into the corners, heart pounding like a drum in her chest. Marcus's hand lingered for a brief moment on the car before he whispered, "Stay still, don't move, you'll see everything soon." The boot closed, and the world outside melted away into shadows. Only her heartbeat remained, thundering in her ears, echoing against the cold metal walls. Minutes passed, each tick of time stretched into eternity. Madison's mind raced. She remembered James's smile from last night, the soft brush of his hand as they shared laughter, the way he whispered promises in the dark. Could it all have been lies? Could the life she had believed in, the love she had trusted, be a carefully constructed mask? Then she heard it, the soft click of the car door opening. Her stomach twisted. Footsteps approached. Marcus's calm voice came from the front. "Morning, sir." "Morning, Marcus," came James's voice, smooth, casual, unaware. "Drive us to the usual place, please." Madison pressed herself deeper into the darkness. "The usual place," she whispered to herself, panic rising. What could he possibly mean? James slid into the car, adjusting his tie in the rearview mirror, humming softly, oblivious to the storm that followed him. Madison's heart jumped at every small noise, the bump of the car over a stone, the faint squeak of tires against the asphalt. Outside, the city gleamed, innocent and bright, but inside the boot, a tempest of fear and doubt raged. Time blurred, her eyes adjusted to the dim interior, catching her own reflection in the glossy car panels. A stranger stared back, eyes wide with shock, lips pressed tight in silence, a heart weighed down by suspicion. The car slowed. The tires crunched against the quiet street. Madison's pulse raced as James's voice drifted from the front. "Park here, Marcus, just for a minute. I'll be quick." Just a minute, Marcus whispered. Stay hidden, watch, wait. Minutes stretched like hours. Madison pressed herself further into the shadows, her fingers gripping her gown. Her breath came short, uneven, every sound amplified in the small space. Then she saw it, the house. Small, ordinary, yet profoundly ordinary. The kind of place that masked the extraordinary in its simplicity. And there he was. James opened the door, greeted by a woman whose smile was radiant and warm. A little girl ran forward, arms outstretched. "Daddy," she shouted, laughter spilling like sunlight. Madison froze, her knees went weak, her hand flew to her mouth. "No, no, it can't be real," she whispered. The woman wrapped the child in her arms, kissed James's cheek. Madison's chest felt as if it were being squeezed. The betrayal was undeniable, almost grotesque in its clarity. This was the secret James had hidden from her, the daughter, the life he had lived in parallel, the family he had kept from her. She stumbled back, her mind spinning in disbelief. 3 years of promises, planning, laughter, all built on deception. Memories flashed like neon warnings, small lies she had brushed off, excuses she had accepted. Each one now screamed at her, undeniable and sharp. Minutes passed, 10, 15. The scene continued, each second cutting deeper into her heart. Finally, James left the house, waving goodbye to the little girl and the woman, unaware that Madison had witnessed everything. Her tears fell freely now, but amidst the heartbreak, a strange clarity emerged. She was no longer a victim in this hidden drama. She had seen the truth. The storm of betrayal had revealed the world in its raw, unmasked form. Marcus waited, calm but tense. "Come out, Madison," he whispered. She stepped into the sunlight, the ordinary street around her strangely comforting, despite the chaos that roared inside her chest. "We have to act carefully," Marcus said. "Follow him, watch. Only when you know the full truth can you confront him." Madison nodded, wiping her tears, gathering the remnants of her composure. The day she had dreamed of had become a waking nightmare, but she would see it through, eyes open, heart guarded, and spirit unbroken. Every step she took away from the car felt like walking through a fog. She kept a distance, shadowing James as he moved through the streets with a casual confidence. Her eyes never left him. The little girl's laughter echoed in her mind, a haunting reminder of the life hidden beneath the mask. As she pressed herself against the walls of buildings, using her veil like a cloak of invisibility, Madison realized something vital. She had the power now. The knowledge she had feared was her weapon. The man she had loved had underestimated her. She would not be silent. She would not be deceived. The house receded into the distance. James moved on, unaware. Madison lingered, absorbing every detail, every gesture, every casual smile that had been carefully crafted to hide the truth. She knew the confrontation would come, but first, she had to prepare. She had to understand the full scope of his betrayal. Her wedding dress, once a symbol of love and promise, now felt like armor. The veil, once delicate and decorative, became a shield. The city around her moved in muted, golden hues, oblivious to the personal apocalypse unfolding in its quiet streets. And in that quiet, Madison made her decision. She would face him, but not as a naive bride. She would confront the deceit, reclaim her power, and ensure that the truth no longer hid in shadows. The first part of the day's drama had ended, but the storm had only just begun. Everything you thought you knew is a lie. The man you love is living a double life, and now the truth is out. Madison's chest heaved as she followed from a safe distance. The morning sunlight glinted off the pavement, but it could not touch the storm of emotion raging inside her. Every step James took, every casual gesture he made, was a knife twisting in her heart. She had expected surprises on her wedding day, last-minute jitters, minor mishaps, but nothing could have prepared her for this. A secret family, a hidden daughter, and a wife James had never bothered to mention. Her hands clutched her gown, smudged with tears and sweat. The dress, once pristine and elegant, now seemed heavy with the weight of deception. She felt the silk scratch against her skin, as if punishing her for ever believing in him. Marcus walked silently beside her, eyes scanning the surroundings. "Stay calm, Madison," observe, wait for the right moment. Madison nodded, though her mind spun in circles. How could she have been so blind? 3 years of planning, 3 years of love, all lies. She remembered every tender moment. The way James brushed her hand, the quiet laughter in the park, the promises whispered at midnight. Had all of it been fake? As James entered a small cafe, Madison ducked behind a nearby pillar. Through the window, she saw him greet the woman from the house, now clearly his wife, with warmth and familiarity. Their daughter sat on the woman's lap, giggling and pointing at James. The sight burned into Madison's vision, each detail etching the betrayal deeper. "Stay hidden," Marcus whispered. Madison nodded, pressing herself against the wall, every muscle tense. Her mind raced, every possible confrontation, every scenario, every outcome. She had to be smart. She had to survive this day without letting him see that she had discovered the truth. James laughed lightly, a sound she had once loved, now poisoned. He leaned down to kiss his daughter's forehead, and Madison felt bile rise in her throat. Every second stretched painfully, yet she could not look away. Time passed, and the cafe emptied except for the family. James finally left, holding his daughter's hand, and Madison followed, careful to remain unseen. Her mind spun faster with every step. She thought of her wedding, her beautiful ceremony, the guests waiting, the flowers, the music, all built on a lie. When they arrived at a nearby park, James stopped. He smiled at his daughter, tossed her gently in the air, and caught her laughing. The sight should have been innocent, heartwarming, but to Madison, it was a dagger. She pressed her hands to her face, trying to hold back tears. "How could he do this?" she whispered. Marcus's hand rested lightly on her shoulder, because he wanted to hide the truth. "But now, it's your turn to act." Madison swallowed hard. Her chest felt tight, constricted by rage and heartbreak. Her life had been built on trust, and that trust had been shattered. She remembered the nights she had dreamed of this day, of walking down the aisle, of saying, "I do." And now, everything was in ruins. Her thoughts were interrupted when James crouched beside his daughter to tie her shoelace. Madison noticed a small bracelet on her wrist, a gift she had seen James buy just last week. The same meticulous care he had always shown her, now shown to another family. Anger surged, hot and sharp. She clenched her fists around her gown. This was not just betrayal, it was a life carefully constructed to deceive, to manipulate, to hide the truth until it suited him. Marcus leaned close. "Now is the time. We confront him, but carefully. Let's get evidence, clear, undeniable proof." Madison nodded, her resolve hardening. She would not be played for a fool. She would not let him hide in the shadows. The next hour was tense and deliberate. Madison trailed James and his family through the city, capturing small details with her phone, interactions, gifts, affectionate gestures, moments that painted the full picture. Each photo, each video clip made her stomach churn, yet solidified her determination. By late morning, Madison had everything she needed. The betrayal was undeniable. She had evidence. The proof could not be denied. And now, it was time to confront him. Her thoughts turned to the wedding. The guests, the music, the vows, all of it would unfold under false pretenses if she remained silent. She could not allow that. She needed the world to see the truth, to witness the consequences of his lies. "Let's go," she whispered to Marcus. He nodded, his expression grim but supportive. "You're ready. The truth is your weapon." The drive back to the mansion was quiet. Madison stared out the window, lost in thought. Each turn of the wheel, each passing streetlight, brought her closer to the confrontation that would define the rest of her life. Inside the mansion, preparations continued. Guests arrived, oblivious to the personal catastrophe about to unfold. Flowers were arranged, music played softly, and everywhere, a sense of anticipation buzzed in the air. Madison slipped inside, unnoticed, her dress wrinkled, her hair slightly disheveled, her eyes burning with resolve. She climbed the stairs, each step measured, each breath controlled. In the mirror, she saw not a bride betrayed, but a woman transformed, strong, determined, ready to reclaim her life. When she reached her room, Madison took a deep breath. She reviewed the evidence once more, ensuring nothing could be refuted. The truth was undeniable. James had lived a double life, hidden a family, and deceived both women he claimed to love. She felt the weight of that truth, but also a spark of empowerment. She was no longer a passive player. She would face him, but on her terms. She would expose the lies, reclaim her dignity, and ensure that justice was served. The wedding ceremony began. Guests gathered, unaware of the storm about to erupt. Madison stepped forward, her presence commanding, her gaze sharp. James waited at the altar, oblivious to the devastation he had wrought, confident in his carefully constructed illusion of perfection. Madison walked slowly, each step echoing through the hall, every eye turning to her. The flowers, the music, the laughter, it all seemed surreal, almost mocking, yet she held her composure. The audience saw a bride poised and elegant, only she knew the storm raging inside. When she reached the front, she stood tall, eyes locked on James. The officiant began the vows, his voice a ceremonial drone. Madison's heart pounded, but her mind was clear. She would speak the truth. She would not let him hide. The room held its breath. Madison's hands tightened around her bouquet. Then, with a calm voice that carried across the hall, "I object." Gasps rippled, phones raised, guests whispered shocked. James's confident posture faltered, the illusion shattered in an instant. From the back, a woman stepped forward. Grace, the wife he had hidden, her eyes filled with tears but her posture strong. The child clung to her side. Madison felt a strange solidarity, a shared strength with this woman who had suffered the same deception. James stammered, What is this? How?" Grace's voice was steady. "The truth, James, the truth everyone deserves to know. You lied. You betrayed both of us." Madison stepped beside Grace, holding her head high. The evidence was undeniable. Photos, videos, messages, all laid bare the extent of his deceit. The guests watched, horrified, as the man they had believed to be honorable crumbled under the weight of exposure. Madison's heart, though still aching, felt a strange release. The lies could no longer harm her. She had reclaimed her power. James fell to his knees, pleading, excuses spilling from his lips. But Madison, Grace, and the witnesses saw the reality of his choices. The wedding would not proceed. The ceremony was over, not with celebration, but with justice and truth. Madison turned from the altar, her gaze steady. Grace followed. Together, they walked away from the man who had tried to manipulate and deceive them, leaving behind the shattered illusion of a perfect life. Outside, the world waited. The media, the guests, the city, all would bear witness to the fall of a man who built his life on lies. Madison and Grace, once victims, now stood empowered, united by the truth and the shared resolve to reclaim their lives. The wedding day was a lie. The man she loved had betrayed them all. Now, it's time for truth, justice, and revenge. Madison stood at the mansion doorway, her wedding gown wrinkled, veil slightly askew, hair tousled from the morning chaos. Her reflection in the glass revealed not a broken bride, but a woman forged by betrayal, eyes sharp, shoulders straight, heart pounding with both pain and determination. Grace, holding her daughter's hand tightly, approached silently. Their gazes met, and in that moment no words were needed. Shared suffering had become shared strength. Together, they had survived the morning's storm. Now, it was time for the world to witness the fallout. The grand hall awaited. Guests had taken their seats, unaware that the day would unfold into one of the most shocking confrontations they had ever witnessed. White flowers, polished silver, and flowing music created a facade of perfection. Yet beneath the surface, a storm brewed, ready to tear through James Cole's carefully constructed illusion. Madison inhaled deeply, steadying her shaking hands. Marcus, ever vigilant, gave a subtle nod from the side. Everything was ready. Every piece of evidence, photos, videos, messages, was now in her possession. The truth could no longer be denied. As the ceremony began, Madison's steps were deliberate. Each footfall echoed, a subtle drumbeat heralding the coming revelation. James, standing at the altar, radiated confidence, a practiced smile on his face, but Madison saw beyond it. She saw the cracks, the guilt he could no longer hide. The officiant, oblivious to the tension, began the formalities. If anyone knows any reason why these two should not be joined in marriage, speak now or forever hold your peace." Silence hung thick in the air. Madison's heart pounded, but her voice was steady when she spoke. "I object." Gasps filled the room. Phones rose, capturing every second. The camera flashes reflected in James's shocked eyes, a man who had believed he controlled the narrative, now utterly powerless. From the back, Grace stepped forward, her daughter clinging to her side. The crowd parted instinctively, drawn by the quiet authority in Grace's stance. "This man has lied," Grace said, her voice unwavering. "He has hidden a family, a daughter, from all of us. We trusted him, and he betrayed both of us." Madison joined her, holding her own evidence ready. Photographs of James with Grace and their child. Messages proving long-term deception. Videos capturing moments James had carefully hidden. Each piece of truth pressed like a knife, piercing the illusion of innocence James had maintained. James's confident posture faltered. His eyes darted between the two women standing before him, the reality of exposure sinking in. I didn't want to hurt you," he stammered, voice cracking. I thought I was doing the right thing, for both of you, for the child. I had no choice." Madison's gaze hardened. "No choice," she repeated, her voice calm but lethal. "You had choices, James. You chose betrayal. You chose lies. You chose to use love as a mask to hide your selfishness. You had a choice every single day, and every single day you failed." The room held its breath. Guests whispered, some shocked, some horrified. Cameras clicked. The power of truth pressed down on James, leaving him exposed and stripped of the facade he had cultivated for years. Grace's voice trembled slightly, but she continued. "You left me, James. You left our daughter. You pretended to build a life while hiding the one you already had. And now, you stand here expecting forgiveness." James fell to his knees, hands reaching out, desperate. "Please, understand, I was drowning. I had debts, pressure, no work. I only wanted to survive and protect both of you. I never meant to hurt anyone." Madison's eyes burned with controlled fury. "You don't get to justify this. Your survival came at the cost of both our hearts. You built a life on our pain, and today that ends." Grace stepped closer, daughter in her arms. "This ends now, James. The truth is here, and so is justice." James's shoulders shook as he realized the weight of his actions. The illusion of control he had clung to crumbled completely. Madison, holding her bouquet tightly, took a decisive step forward. "The wedding cannot continue," she declared. "Not with lies standing between us. This ceremony is over, not with vows, not with promises, but with truth, and you will face the consequences of your deception." The officiant stepped back, clearly stunned, while the guests murmured among themselves. Cameras captured every moment, the fall of a man who had thought he could manipulate everyone around him. Outside, the world began to take notice. Videos of the confrontation were shared instantly. Social media lit up with the shocking revelation. James Cole, once celebrated for his charm and charisma, became infamous overnight. His reputation, carefully constructed over years, unraveled in hours. Madison and Grace, though exhausted and emotionally raw, felt a sense of power rising within them. They had reclaimed control over their lives. Their shared pain had become strength, their betrayal transformed into a weapon against deceit. The aftermath was swift. James lost his job, faced public scrutiny, and was ostracized by the community he had deceived. Madison focused on rebuilding her life, promoting Marcus within her company for his loyalty and courage, and establishing boundaries to protect herself from future deception. Grace returned to her own life, empowered to provide for her daughter without relying on a man who had consistently failed both of them. The bond between the two women, forged in betrayal and strengthened through shared resilience, became unbreakable. Days turned into weeks, and the memory of that morning remained vivid, but no longer painful. The women had emerged stronger, wiser, and unafraid. Madison occasionally glanced at her wrinkled wedding gown, a symbol of dreams disrupted, and smiled faintly. It was a reminder of survival, not surrender. In the quiet moments, Madison and Grace often reflected on the lesson hidden within their shared trauma. Silence and trust can mask betrayal, but the truth, when revealed, transforms victims into warriors. Love, once manipulated, became a lens through which strength, clarity, and justice could be seen. The story of that wedding day spread far and wide. People watched, read, and empathized. It became a tale of empowerment, a viral lesson on vigilance, courage, and reclaiming one's life after deception. And for Madison, Grace, and their respective futures, it was not just a story of betrayal. It was a story of survival, empowerment, and triumph. The moral was clear: truth cannot be hidden forever. When it rises, it changes everything. And those who wield it wisely can reclaim not just their lives, but their power. Madison smiled, finally free from the illusion that had haunted her. Grace smiled back, daughter in arms, eyes bright with hope. Together they walked forward, leaving behind the wreckage of lies and stepping into a future defined by clarity, strength, and unshakable truth. The man who had sought to control them through deceit was left to face the consequences. And in that final reckoning, justice had been served, not through violence, not through revenge, but through the undeniable power of truth.